The restaurant was nearly empty, its golden chandeliers glowing faintly over half-cleared tables. Daniel Reeves, the billionaire CEO known for his ruthless negotiations and cold demeanor, sat alone staring at his untouched steak. Success had given him wealth, power, and control over empires, but it had stolen from him the warmth of companionship. Just as he raised his glass, a timid voice broke the silence. "Sir, may we have your leftovers?" He turned, and saw two little girls, no older than 7, their identical faces thin from hunger, their eyes wide with something that pierced through the walls he had built around his heart. Daniel Reeves had grown used to silence. The kind that echoed in boardrooms after his decisions cut jobs, the kind that haunted his penthouse at night when no one waited for him. His life was a perfectly polished glass, shiny, expensive, but empty inside. That night at the 5-star restaurant, he had only come to escape the pressure of another soulless business deal. But the interruption from those two little girls shattered his solitude in a way he could not explain. Their clothes were worn, mismatched, and their shoes far too thin for the winter outside. One clutched her sister's hand tightly, as though afraid they might be separated, and their eyes, those eyes, large, brown, and glistening with both desperation and hope, looked at him not with entitlement, but with the silent plea of children who had learned hunger too early in life. Where are your parents?" Daniel asked, his voice surprisingly soft. "They're gone," the smaller one whispered. "It's just us and Grandma. She tries, but she's sick. We saw you had food, and we thought maybe." The words broke off, choked by shame. Daniel froze. He was a man who had rejected charity, believing in earning one's way. Yet here were two children, asking not for money, not for gifts, but for scraps from his plate. Something cracked inside him. Without a second thought, he waved the waiter over. "Bring them the best meal this kitchen can make. And make it too." The waiter's eyes widened, but he nodded. Within minutes, plates of warm pasta, bread, and soup were set before the girls. They ate slowly at first, then with the urgency of those who hadn't known a full stomach in days. Daniel didn't touch his own food. He only watched, feeling something he hadn't in years: usefulness beyond profit. When they finished, the taller girl wiped her mouth and whispered, "Thank you, sir." Daniel felt a lump in his throat. "What's your name?" "I'm Emma." "This is Lily." Emma and Lily. The names burned into his mind like a promise he didn't yet understand. That night, he didn't return to his penthouse right away. Instead, he walked them back to their small, crumbling apartment building in the rough part of town. Their grandmother, frail and coughing, tried to stand when she saw him, apologizing for her granddaughter's boldness. But Daniel only shook his head. They did nothing wrong. They were brave. For the first time in years, Daniel Reeves, the man who had everything, felt that perhaps he had been missing the one thing that mattered most: human connection. That night, lying awake in his penthouse, he couldn't forget the eyes of the twin girls. Eyes that spoke of hunger, pain, and yet unbroken hope. Weeks turned into months. Daniel couldn't stay away. Quietly, he began to help the little family, not with grand gestures, but with thoughtful consistency. He paid for the grandmother's medicine anonymously, made sure groceries were delivered every week, and even arranged for the twins to attend a better school. But the biggest change was not in their lives. It was in his. Daniel found himself leaving the office earlier, sitting with Emma and Lily as they did homework, or reading them bedtime stories when their grandmother was too weak. For the first time in decades, laughter filled his evenings. The walls of his loneliness cracked with every smile, every hug, every "Good night, Mr. Reeves." One snowy evening, as he walked them home from school, Emma looked up at him and asked, "Why are you always so nice to us? You're like the dad we never had." Daniel stopped in his tracks. The word dad hit him like a wave. He had no family of his own. His wealth couldn't buy love, but these children, these orphans, were giving it freely, without asking for anything in return. He swallowed hard. "Because you remind me what it means to be human." Time went on, and life took its turns. Their grandmother passed away quietly one spring morning, leaving the girls officially alone in the world. Daniel, without hesitation, stepped in. Legal battles and paperwork followed, but months later, Emma and Lily were no longer the girls who begged for leftovers. They were his daughters, his family. Years passed. Daniel Reeves, once the lonely CEO, became known for more than his business empire. He founded charities for children, built shelters, and dedicated his fortune to protecting the forgotten. But the most important change was personal. His once empty penthouse now echoed with laughter, birthdays, school recitals, and the simple, priceless joy of family dinners. One day, when Emma graduated college, she stood on the stage, her speech trembling with tears. Many years ago, my sister and I were just two hungry little girls who asked a stranger for leftovers. But that stranger saw us, not just our hunger, but our worth. He gave us food, yes, but he also gave us love, a home, and a future. That stranger became our father. Daniel wept openly that day, and in that moment he knew kindness had not only saved them, it had saved him too. Moral of the story: a single act of kindness may seem small, but it can transform lives, heal loneliness, and create a love that lasts forever.